It's another opportunity for us to hear and learn of the word of truth that's given to us by the Most High God. All honor goes to the Father through the Son, whose name is Yahushua. In him lies the only hope for salvation. We know that it is obtained by grace through faith, not of works, lest anyone should boast. It given freely as a gift to all who obey him. We understand that if you do not obey him, it is made manifest or made obvious that you do not believe. In this state, you should expect no good thing from the Most High. However, anything that you do get, whether it be a gift of tongues, a gift of prophecy, or any supernatural experience that you may have, it can and it will be used against you in the day of judgment. With that said, peace to the saints that are in the room, to the saints that couldn't make it, to the saints watching in on the camera. But no peace to the wicked. The only thing we say to them is repent that they might live. Where we want to go? I'm going to start off with today.
You take some out of Ezekiel, which y'all already.
Oh yeah, we was talking about it the other day about
Are you trying to do 20?
Yeah.
No, we can't do 20. That thing, that's going to take it. I mean, you do 20, that's a whole, you know what I mean? That's a whole thing by itself.
20. And then just do 30-30. Jeremiah.
20 though? No, 20. Got too much going. All right, whatever. It's Ezekiel chapter 20. Give me verse.
Said,
it's Ezekiel chapter 20, verse, what I want?
20, I think.
Is it 20? Is it that early? Yeah, it might be 2020, actually.
Yeah, it is. Oh, yeah.
2021, maybe? I can watch Scared Kid.
No one's saying anything.
Don't be answering my door, boy. No, I'm just playing. Go ahead and open it. I think it's your mom.
That's 33.
Ezekiel chapter 20, verse 33. That's where it starts?
Yeah, what you looking for?
What
Told you. I
What
told you.
21 say?
21 says, notwithstanding the children rebelled against me, they walk not in my statutes.
What 32 say?
33 says,
32.
As I live, says the Lord God, surely with a mighty hand and with an outstretched arm will my fury be poured out.
That's 33 or 32?
33.
What 32 say?
And that which comes into your mind shall not be at all that you say we will be as the heathen, as the families of the countries concerned with us.
All right, this is Ezekiel chapter 20. Give me verse 31. It's Ezekiel chapter 20, verse 31.
But when you offer your gifts, when you make your sons to pass through the fire, you pollute yourselves with all your idols, even unto this day, and shall I be inquired of by you,
He
O
said,
house of Israel?
So he said, look at it. He said, all the day, y'all let y'all kids pass through the darn fire. He said, and then when you do that, shall I be inquired of by you? In other words, with you committing that type of sin, do you think it's appropriate that you can pray to me and seek my guidance? And you think I'm going to answer you? And I'm going to give you counsel and I'm going to tell you what the right thing to do and how to do it and all this? Like, he's trying to lay the groundwork to let us know, like, this is why God hides his face from us. Right? This is why we in position. She like,
Yeah, like
he like, throw it. This is why the Most High God hides his face from us. Right? He puts us in a position, right, where it's like, okay, you can do the right thing, you do the wrong thing. Okay, you did the wrong thing. Now you're in the spot. You're in a bad spot. And now you want to talk to me? And you think I'm going to be inquired of by you? Right? So this is where we are now. That's why, like, people can pray and pray and pray and they feel like God ain't answer. Well, because he ain't. But I go to church and I read my Bible. Or forget church. I come to Bible study. Right? I come here in Bible study and I know Philip hit that word. You know what I'm talking about? And I ain't never heard it like that ever. You know what I'm talking about? It's just like, okay, so that's the real word being preached. And still when I pray, I just feel like God ain't listening to me.
That's right.
Because he ain't.
Tell TJ I said for me.
Quite frankly. He's looking at, this is what y'all people have done for years. And now y'all want to inquire? I put y'all in y'all punishment. Of course you're going to want to talk to me now.
My dad said come here.
You in captivity in these other people's land? Of course you're going to want to talk to me now. Yo, people getting darn shot down and put in jail for the rest of their life for selling some weed and all this stuff. Of course you gonna want to talk to me now. You get choked out for selling a darn cigarette, right? Get a neck in your darn, a knee in your darn neck just because you suspected of darn trying to cash a check this fall. Of course you don't want to. You follow all the laws, you get your gun. You know what I'm saying? That thing registered the way it's supposed to be. You tell the police officer, hey, I have a gun. Let me reach for it, and they shoot you. Of course now you going to want to talk to me. This is the time to talk. Right? Hi, Azariah. Where have you been? I like your dress, your skirt. Well, excuse me. Right? So these are times that, of course, the Most High God is going to want to talk. I mean, we're going to want to talk to the Most High God, but he's looking at it like, oh, no, now. So now, look, you got two options with God. Right? You got two options with God. You can be with him face to face, and the man going to deal with you. Right? If he don't deal with you, he going to send somebody really quickly to deal with you. Right? Or he might just open up a hole and your butt fall into it. That's one side. That's one option. The other option is he can back off. Right? And then when you do something, you mess up, you might not hear from him. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be like, oh, ain't nobody watching. Right? Those are your two options. Here's the benefit with those options. Right? If he face to face, the benefit is you get to see all the miracles. You know he there. You know he real. Ain't no everybody around know he real. It ain't no conversation about God ain't real. Right? We can all happily be like, oh, well, yes, we all believe the book. You see, when we were walking around through the wilderness, it wasn't nobody that was sitting there running around like, man, but I'm an atheist though. I don't know if I believe. You ain't got that just don't make no darn sense. Cause they looking at it like, man, I just saw the Red Sea just darn split. You know what I'm saying? We walked over on dry darn ground. The water was like a wall on each side to us. What I look like talking about God ain't real? That don't make no darn sense. I just saw it. The whole time we've been out here, darn cloud been telling us where to go. We've been sitting here following the cloud each way. Then at night it turned into a big old ball of flames in the sky. I ain't never seen nothing like this in my darn life. I just sat at the bottom of a darn mountain. I'm looking up. It's thunder and lightning, darn clouds and everything coming off. Then I hear this big old voice speak 10 commandments to me. I ain't never experienced nothing in my life. What I look like saying God ain't real? That's a benefit, right? It's like God ain't real. Okay. But when he back off, because when he real like that, what did he tell Moses?
Swift witness.
He said, I'm going to be a swift witness. He told Moses, he's like, listen, don't let nobody touch this darn mountain. Any of them touch the mountain, they shall die. Because that's his mindset. If I tell you to do something and I'm right here and you don't do it, oh, your butt gone. That's it. That got that. I'm not sitting here playing with you. You gone. But when he back off, you get a little mercy. A little more mercy, right? Because he ain't watching you. He's not watching you on purpose. For your sake, he not watching you. For your sake, he like, you know what? I don't even want to know what's happening down there because I know they ain't doing nothing they supposed to do. But when you feel that way, it's like now you feeling like it ain't no God because you get to praying, ain't nobody listening. You ain't seen no miracles. Now you got atheists telling you it ain't real. There's no evidence. So that's the gift and the curse of this whole thing, right? Right here, the Most High God is trying to tell you, you think you gonna be able to talk to me after I did all this? We skipped the first part of the chapter. The whole chapter, he's recapping everything that he's done for our people up to this point. And at the very end, we at the very end of it. Now he's telling us, and you still sinning? Like you still letting your kids pass through the fire? And you think you can talk to me? Like what's wrong with you? Like you just have to understand, like the Most High God be flabbergasted and stuff. Like we be looking at it like it's just a book we just reading. But you gotta understand, the man is trying to tell like, do y'all understand how stupid y'all sound? Right? It's like, do you think this is how it's gonna fly? You just gonna do whatever you want, and I'm just gonna talk to you like it's all good. It changes the picture that we have of God, and that's important. Like it's important that we had a right picture of God, because if we don't, framing of everything is all wrong. Let's keep going. Watch this.
And that which comes into your mind shall not be at all that you say, we will be as the heathen, as the families of the countries to serve wood and stone.
Right? So listen to what he's saying. He said, that which comes in your mind shall not be at all. In other words, he's saying, in your mind, you imagining, you know what? I'm going to be like them. Be like the heathen, as the Gentiles, the other nations. I'm going to worship they type of gods. I'm going to do things. Because sometimes you kind of look and be like, you know, our people still do this today. Right? You might see on one of these conscious black pages or something, you might see like a meme that goes around saying, the Jewish people allows their dollar to circulate in their community this many times and this, that, and other. Asians build up their own banks and this, that, and the other, da. So we're constantly like looking, it's not just us, it's everybody, right? But we're constantly kind of looking at other groups and trying to shame ourselves into being like these other groups, instead of kind of learning about our own true history and all that good stuff. Because, you know, to our credit, no one has really taught us our history, our true history. So we trying to latch on to anybody's history, right? But that's still like what we were doing back then. We would go to other nations. You remember, we read it earlier. You remember when Samuel, the prophet, right? The prophet Samuel, before he chose David, or even Saul, for that matter, right? Before he chose a king over Israel, there had not been a king, it had just been judges. Samuel came on the scene. He was kind of, you know what I'm saying, the head figure. Most High God was talking to him. You remember, it wasn't a whole lot of prophecy in those days, right? It was dark in those days too, kind of like it is now. So then Samuel came on the scene. He was a prophet of the Most High God. He started to guide the people. What did we say to Samuel?
We want to be like the other nations.
We said we want to be like these other. Man, I look at Moab, because what was happening? Like we would have a judge rise up, right? And then he had knocked Moab off. He had knocked Ammon off, right? He had knocked the, you know what I'm saying? What's the homie name? You know what I'm saying? The hair. Samson. You know what I'm saying? Samson had knocked the Philistines off, right? These people had us under pressure. They was oppressing us, right? So then we get a judge that rise up, knock them off, but then the judge dies. Then what? We ain't got no protector. We ain't got no organizational structure. It's just like, but these other places got kings. So now, no matter what happened, there's a plan for the next person that's going to be. So I die, my son going to take over, and he goes, and he already has the training to be a king and all that stuff. So it's like the continuity of these other nations. If you just look at it logically, they like the continuity of these other nations is like better. Like things just continue. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like they organize. They got stuff. You know what, Samuel? Make us a king. Make us king like the other nations. Because they looking at it like, man, it seems like every other 40 years, you know what I'm saying, we in the same position. So it's like let's do something different. Let's figure something out. Like, you know what I'm saying, make us a king like these other nations so we can kind of experience what they experience. So that's when Samuel said, okay, you know what I'm saying? And he gave us Saul. You know what I'm saying? And you got David. And that's how because we have this drive when we looking to kind of be like these other nations, as opposed to kind of going to God and saying, yo, this is what we're going through. What's your advice for us? How should we do it? How should we handle it? I researched in the word. I didn't find it. Should we get a king, God? You have to understand the difference. Like right now, that may not make much sense to us, because we just talked about when I talk to God, I'm not hearing nothing back. Because the Most High God's like this right now. But now in this day, remember it was dark in those times too, but then Samuel came on the scene. That was the first prophet in a while. Now you got access to Samuel, and Samuel got access to the Most High God. You mean tell me y'all came up with this decision, y'all didn't go to Samuel and be like, yo, what you think God would think about this? Right? That's the difference of approach that we got to have. So that's why it's like when we got access to the Most High God, we don't want to talk to him. Then he put us under all this stress and this oppression. They're like, oh, now you want to inquire of me? So he's telling you, he's like, oh, no, you ain't going to inquire of me. And what you got in your mind to think that you're going to be like these other nations, oh, that thing ain't happening either. You just knock it off. None of that's happening. All right, keep going. Watch this.
As I live, says the Lord God, surely with a mighty hand and with a stretched out arm and with fury poured out will I rule over you.
Mm-hmm.
And I will bring you out from the people and will gather you out of the countries where you are scattered with a mighty hand and with a stretched out arm and with fury poured out.
When God says stretched out arm, what are you talking about?
Get you.
He ain't trying to whoop some butt. He letting us know, he's like, listen, it's not going to be like y'all think it's going to be. Then he skips. This is how the book is. That's why he do it on purpose. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not meant to like be laid out so clean that you just get it all the way and understand exactly how it's gonna play out. He just give you a little hint here and there, right? So notice the context of what he's saying. He first started off talking about, I'm not gonna mess with you. You're not gonna be able to inquire of me. And what you think you're gonna be with these other nations, you think you're gonna be like these other nations, it's not gonna come to be. So we got this aspiration of being like Egypt, or this aspiration of being like Babylon, right? And we Israelites at this time, right? And we got this aspiration of being like these other nations, these dominant empires that rule, you know what I'm saying, that whole part of the world, right? And Most High God's like, nah, that ain't what it's gonna be. So what do you think he's talking about when he say that? Because notice he skipped from that, right? At this time when he talking, our people are, I wouldn't say we safe in our country. We in a war. We kind of losing the war. Or not kind of. We losing the war, right, at this point, right? So we getting our butt kicked in the war at this point. Everybody's stressed out, right? So he go from your aspirations of being like these other nations is not going to happen straight to, but I'm going to bring you from these other nations with an outstretched arm. He skipped the whole lot. He skipped the part that, oh, we going to be until like these other nations going to take us captive. And then we're going to be in these other nations, and we're going to be there for hundreds of years, and we're going to get punished and all this other stuff and go to another nation, and all of us going to come together, or most of us going to come together in this nation, and then we're going to get transferred on the transatlantic slave trade, and we're going to be in another nation for 400 years, and some other nations for longer than that. Like, we're going to be scattered across the whole world. He skipped it in terms of the sentences. He covered in the book. But in this part, he go right from you here, and you disobeying me, and what you think going to happen, not going to happen to, but surely I'm going to bring you out with outstretched arm. So reading that without knowing that in between, it's tough. You look at that like, what is God trying to say to me right now? All right, I know I messed up, and I know you ain't going to let me be like the heathens, and I know I can't inquire of you. Cool. But then you're going to save me with outstretched arms. It's like, what message are you trying to send to me right now? Okay, like I'm doing bad, but you're going to save me. I'm doing the wrong thing, but you know what? You gonna bring me out of these niggas. How did I get to these other nations, God? You know what I'm saying? Like, how did I get here again? Like, what you like? What's the future? You know what I'm saying? Like, tell me how did we get there? Right? Watch this.
And I will bring you into the wilderness of the.
Now read 31 for me, or 32.
As I live, says the Lord God, surely with a mighty hand and with a stretched out arm and with fury poured out will I rule over you. Oh my bad. And that which comes into your mind shall not be at all, that you say, we will be as the heathen and as the family of the countries to serve wood and stone.
Uh-huh.
As I live, says the Lord God, surely with a mighty hand, with a stretched out arm, and with fury poured out, I will rule over you.
Uh-huh.
And I will bring you out from the people and will gather you out of the countries where you are scattered with a mighty hand and with a stretched out arm.
Right, so we looking like, when did we get scattered, Lord? Like, what you talking about? Because we, at this point, we just like all in our country, our walls getting beat in by Babylon. We know it's about a matter, he already took some of our people captive. But we looking like, we gonna get scattered? Okay, hold on, let's talk about this, right? Because now he telling me, like, listen, I'm gonna bring you back from these countries. He said, first of all, I'm gonna rule over you. I'm gonna be your king. I'm gonna rule over you. You know what I'm saying? With fury. He said, I'm gonna bring you back with an outstretched arm from all these nations that I scattered you to. Let's keep going, watch this.
And I will bring you into the wilderness of the people, and there will I plead with you face to face.
So he said, then I'm going to bring you into the wilderness of what?
Of the people.
Of the people. What is the wilderness of the people?
In the Hebrew.
All right.
Moses. Same way Moses was.
Maybe, who knows? You know what I'm saying? But that's what we're looking at. He says, I'm going to bring you out of all the places that I scattered you. Where did he scatter us?
No nations.
Scattered us into all nations. We here in America, Hebrews. Down in darn Cuba, Hebrews. Down in darn Brazil, Hebrews. Down in darn Jamaica, Hebrews. Right? They got us and had us all in. You're all through darn Europe, Hebrews. Middle East, they keep us tucked away, Hebrews. They got a Hebrew dude that went over into China. Apparently, he started the first, you know what I'm saying, I was watching this Jay-Z video. He started the first Japanese anime studio. You know what I'm saying? The first black man to start a Japanese anime studio in Japan. You know what I mean? Oh, that's pretty impressive. You know what I'm saying? That's pretty cool. You know what I'm saying? We over there too, Hebrews. Right? So we all over the world, captive. Right? Doing bad. We kind of know the story here, but there's a whole lot of other places where you just don't know. You don't know the story. You go, you know what I'm saying? You like, oh yeah, you think of Iran, and it's just like, Iran is just full of, you know what I'm saying, Arabs. Right? But if you happen to catch the right article online, you'll hear about, dang, they doing Black Lives Matter out there too? You catch the right article. They'll be like, oh, these people don't care about their black folks either. Like in Egypt, you go over there and it's like, ooh, the Arabs over there are super racist against black people. Like they don't mess with black people like that.
They was talking about that in India too.
Yeah, in
India,
all in Yemen.
Right? So it's like, why is it that no matter where you go, dark skin is thing? A lot of these people that got dark skin that ain't Hebrew just getting caught in the wash. It's because of us. There's a curse on us, and these people just don't know how to identify us all the time. So it's just like, well, if you dark skin, you might be one of them. Let me get your butt out of here. That's how a lot of this stuff starts. And then you got, I mean, if you look in Africa, right, especially West Africa, you got all dark-skinned people, mostly dark-skinned people rather, and they can identify. They know. They be looking like, nah, you know what I'm saying, you one of the Ivwe. You know what I'm saying? They call them the Ivwe. You know what I'm saying? Or they call them what they call? I can't think of it right now. They call them the
I completely forgot, but I know what you're talking about.
I can't think of it right now. Yeah, Igbo.
Yeah, that's it.
There we go. You know what I'm saying?
2 ounces wasn't short.
Yeah, they call them the Igbo. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh no, you know what I'm saying? You Igbo. Like, oh nah, you Igbo, we don't mess with you over here. Right? Matter of fact, you got people that's scared to even say they Igbo. They deny that they Igbo. Just because they know they get treated differently. So I hear at least. Alright? So it's like all over the world we being oppressed and we've been scattered. And the Most High God saying that I'm going to bring you back from all those places. Watch this.
And I will cause you to pass under the rod, and I will bring you into the bond of the covenant.
We're going to have to come back to all this stuff. He said, I'm going to cause you to pass under the rod, and I'm going to bring you under the bond of the covenant. What in the world is that talking about?
The new covenant.
It's in the rod and stick.
A rod is a stick. Who had a rod?
Jacob,
Jacob had a rod.
Moses.
Moses had a rod. I like Jacob though, because Jacob had a rod. Grab that was a good one. Jacob grab Genesis
25, 35.
it might be
30, I think.
26 is Isaac, right? So maybe it's 36. I want to say it's something with a 6. Can't be 16, 26 if I'm not mistaken is Isaac. So let's try 36. 36 seems really late to me though, so that might not be it either. Yeah, 36 might be too late.
30.
See if you can find it for me. Who else had a rod, TJ? Who was the main person with the rod? I know we say Moses, but who was really the main person with the rod?
Joshua.
Mm-mm. Wasn't it Aaron?
Yeah, I mean, Aaron's the one that was the one carrying the.
Yeah, remember Aaron's the one that had the rod.
Yeah.
You remember TJ when they were talking, they were running their mouth against Aaron and Moses? They looking like, man, we want to be priests too. Remember everybody wanted to be a darn priest? You kind of look at it like women now. Right? Most High God tell you to preach the word, to speak the word, and to teach it. What you gotta be? What does it take to be a man who teach the word? Well, that's to be a priest. All right? To be a priest, you gotta be a son of Aaron. But if you want to teach the word, if you want to be a teacher of the word, What are the requirements that the Bible describes? You want to be a Bible teacher.
It ain't like much for that. It's like you gotta be like it just says like
Can you be a woman? No. So first thing, you got to be a man. Can't be a kid. You got to be a man, right? You got to be an adult man, right? Right? Then after that, you got to be a husband of one wife, right? You can't be a darn striker. You can't be somebody out here always trying to spite somebody, right? Can't be given into what? Filthy lucre or strong drink or anger, right? Fury, right? You gotta be somebody that be able to stand up, right? Understand what's going on, and can't be compromised. You gotta be above reproach. The book says, right? So these are the requirements that the book lay out. You gotta be a man and all other things that we just talked about, right? But now what do? You don't have nobody come to you talking about, no, I feel like a pastor should be able to have, to be able to be given in the filthy lucre. Or no, I feel like a pastor should be able to have more than one wife. No, I feel like this, that, another. But you also have women now that come to you and be like, I feel like a woman should be able to preach and teach the word to men. It's like, no, that's not what the book say. You ain't got no problem with all of them. Well, they do got a problem with the rest of them too. But you ain't voicing the problem to the rest of them because you know you'll sound ridiculous. But this one you gonna have a problem voicing because you think it's like sexist and outdated and all that other stuff. Well, no. Well, the same thing happened. You know what I'm saying? Back in the day, the Most High God said you got to be a son of Aaron, right, to be a priest. And so you had all these other Israelites that was looking like, man, what you talking about? We passed through the water just like everybody else. God blessed us just like everybody else. We here just like everybody else. What you mean? Why the sons of Aaron got this special privilege? Nah, y'all take too much on you. He told Moses, you take too much on yourself. I love that thing. Like, that nerve of you running your darn mouth against Moses. What's wrong with you? He said, Moses, you take too much on yourself. Most High God, you know what I'm saying, after a little conversation, opened up the ground, swallowed them boys right on up. Because we look at it, and the Most High God looking like, man, y'all running y'all mouth. I set these rules in play. I know what I'm doing. If you got a question, ask me. All you got to do is sit there and be like, Moses, why you think God, you know what I'm saying? Like, I was just trying to figure it out. You know what I'm saying? I know you said, you know what I'm saying, this is how I got to go, and you got to be a son of Aaron. But I'm just trying to figure out, like, we all in the same position. No disrespect. No disrespect. I'm just trying to figure out. I'm just trying for my own understanding. Is this something that he might answer me with? You know what I'm saying? That's how you got to approach the Most High God. It's okay to let the Most High God know how you feel. You know what I'm saying? That thing is perfectly fine. You just got to do it respectfully. You know what I'm saying? And you can't be doing it misguided. And you can't disobey his word while you're doing it. You found it? It's Genesis what? 14? No, it's definitely 14. 30? It's Genesis. Damn, wait on 30. It's Genesis chapter 30.
You want to read the whole thing?
No. I just want to pass by the rod. The sheep.
37.
It's Genesis chapter 30, verse 37. Watch what the book say.
And Jacob took him rods of green poplar and of the hazel and chestnut tree, and piled white stakes in them, and made the white appear which was in the rods. And he set the rods which he.
So he took sticks, right? Curved them off into the white of the stick, like the white within the stick. You know what I'm saying? Within the branch, into the white showed. Right? Watch this.
And he set rods which he piled before the flocks in the gutters, in the watering troughs when the flocks came to drink, and they should conceive when they came to drink.
All right, so look, then he put watering troughs together. So when the goats came and they came to drink out of the watering trough, he set up the rods that he just made, and he put them over the watering troughs. You know what I'm saying? So he put them in the dirt, and they're sitting like over the watering trough. Watch this.
And the flocks conceived before the rods, and brought forth cattle, rings, drank, speckled and spotted.
So now, here's the thing. Any goat that came in, any of the cattle that came out with spots on it, blemishes on it, right? It was said to Jacob that he could have those. right? It was a setup.
He was keeping the sheep for his father-in-law.
He just asked to leave, right? We almost should read it all, but he just asked to leave, right? This was his plan. Jacob was like, man, I'm done with this. I've been cheated by this man so many times. I'm out of here. So he got out, tried to get out of Dodge, just had another. Man catch him like, yo, what's going on? He looked like, man, you done had me these 20 years.
Working for you these 20 years.
I'm just trying to get out of Dodge. He like, look, I'll tell you what. You keep my cattle for me, right? You keep my cattle for you, and anything that come out speckled, that's yours. Any other ones that's speckled, that's yours, right? Any of the solid ones, that's mine, and then we'll call it good, right? We'll call it even after that. So Jacob was like, all right, I'm gonna do this last bit of work for you, and I'm gonna keep them for this period of time and all this. And part of keeping them is, let them grow up. Some of them gonna grow old and die, and this, that, and another. So you gotta keep them. You know what I'm saying? Make sure everything good, and make sure they keep on reproducing. And you know what I'm saying? You do what you do. So what Pops did, his father-in-law, what he did is at night, right before his first day, his start day, at night he went through all his flock, and he said, "Oh, that one got a spot. Get it out of here. Got a spot. Get it out." So everything that would have been his, because they would have babies, and the babies might have spots. He said, get all the ones with spots. Now none of them got a blemish. So now the deal was, he get all the ones with blemishes. He took all the ones with DNA that might give blemishes out. So then the Most High God gave Jacob this plan. He said, go ahead, take this, stick, do this to it, da-da-da. Then you'll make spotted cattle. They'll have babies under the feeding trough, and they'll make cattle that's spotted. So that way he would get it. So this is what he did. He set it up. He got the water trough. He put the rods over there. He cut the white in there, all that good stuff. Watch this.
And the flocks conceived before the rods and brought forth cattle, ring-strength, speckled, and spotted. And Jacob did separate the lambs and set the faces of the flocks toward the ring-strength and all the brown in the flock of Laban, and he put his own flocks by themselves and put them not unto Laban's cattle. And it came to pass, whenever the stronger cattle did conceive, that Jacob laid the rods before the eyes of the cattle in the gutters.
Right, so when the strong ones came,
the rods.
when it was time for the strong ones to conceive, right? Oh, you ready to mate? He like, oh, hold on. He go and put the stick in front of them. Because they not spotted right now. They're regular brown, nice brown cattle. You know what I'm talking about? He put the stick in front of them. They get done doing their thing. They babies come out spotted. So he's like, I got the daughter and the son of the strong one. You come over here with me because you spotted. And now what happens is all the newborn strong cattle is on his side. All the newborn weak cattle going to be on Laban's side. So you see, keep going. Watch this.
But when the cattle were feeble, he put them not in. So the feebler were Laban's and the stronger Jacob's.
Right? So the feeble ones, he didn't pass them under the rod. The ones that were weak, he said, you know what? Nah, you know what I'm saying? Give me my rod. You stay your butt back. You just do your thing, I'll let you take care of yourself. When the strong ones came, he bring the rod out. He let them pass under the rod. Watch this. Keep going.
And the man increased exceedingly and had much cattle and maidservants and men servants and camels and donkeys.
Let's go back. This is Ezekiel chapter 20. We're probably at about verse 34, 35. 37. It's Ezekiel chapter 20, verse 37. Watch the book say. I didn't want to do it, but grab Matthew chapter 25 right after this.
And I will cause you to pass under the rod.
I'm going to cause you to do what?
Pass under the rod, and I will bring you into the bond of the covenant.
Because the sheep that pass under the rod for Jacob, when they pass under that rod, guess what happened? They became whose? They became Jacob's. Whose were they before that?
Laban.
If they were all brown, remember, everything that was spotted and speckled, Laban took them out before he gave it to Jacob. So what he gave to Jacob was all brown. Guess whose they were? All Laban's. Because everything that was regular was Laban's. The only thing Jacob gets is what was spotted. So it wasn't until them things passed under the rod and had a baby that Jacob got something out of it. So anything that passed under the rod then became bonded to Jacob. Now the Most High God is sitting there telling us, I'm going to bring y'all into this wilderness. And when I bring y'all into this wilderness, I'm going to cause you to pass under the rod. I don't know what he's talking about.
So how you identify who's his and who's not.
Grab Matthew chapter 25.
Oh, I think it's something.
In Matthew chapter 25. I want verse 1. If it ain't verse 1, it's later on. It might be the end of Matthew chapter 25.
Because when we went in the wilderness before, it wasn't just us, but strangers came with us also.
Right.
Not to say that strangers won't be welcome. What you looking for so far?
Separating the sheep.
Yeah, that's right.
What verse 1 say?
Verse 1 is talking about.
Should start off with a parable, right?
Yeah, the virgins.
Okay.
Oh,
so
yeah.
so give me like verse. What'd you say? 30 something.
31.
Okay.
Alright.
It's Matthew chapter 25 verse 31.
When the Son of Man shall come into his glory and all the holy angels with him, then shall he sit upon the throne of his glory.
Look, he don't sit upon the throne there, going. Watch this.
And before him shall be gathered all nations, and he shall.
And then how many nations?
All nations.
All the nations gonna be gathered before him. The book say. You gotta understand what's happening right now. What the man is talking about. So all nations before him is gonna be gathered. Then what?
And he shall separate them one from another, as a shepherd divides his sheep.
He said, and I'm gonna separate them one from another, as a shepherd does what?
Divide his sheep from the goats.
Okay.
And he shall set the sheep on his right hand, but the goats on the left. And the king shall say unto them on his right hand, Come, you blessed of my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you.
We bonded.
The foundation of the world.
The ones on my right hand, you've been bonded to me. Right? The ones on the left, though, what's going to happen?
For I was hungry, and you gave me meat. Thirsty, and you gave me drink. A stranger, and you took me in. Naked, and you clothed me. I was sick, and you visited me. I was in prison, and you came unto me. Then shall the righteous answer him, saying, Lord, when did we see you hungry and fed you? Thirsty, and gave you drink? When did we see you as a stranger and took you in? Or naked and clothed you? Or when did we see you sick or in prison and came unto you? And the king shall answer and say unto them, Verily I say unto you, inasmuch as you have done it unto one of the least of these my brethren.
The least of these who?
My brethren.
So don't let these people make you feel like by walking by a bum that's on the street. I don't want to call them a bum. I want to stop saying that. But walking past, you know what I'm saying, these people that be on the street, you know what I'm saying, and you know what I'm saying, they hungry or whatever. You feel guilty. You don't give them nothing. You be like, oh, but you know that could have been Jesus, brother. That's not what he talking about. He said when he said the least of these my brethren, he talking about who did he tell us his brother was?
Those do the will of his Father.
He said my mother and my sister and my brother are the ones that do the will of my Father. So now when you got somebody who obeying the Most High God, as far as you know, right? Because you know what we'd do as evil darn people. We'd get there and be like, well, I don't know that he obey. I mean, I don't know what he do when he go home. Just to, you know what I'm saying, just to get out of trying to, you know what I'm saying, share. So as far as you know, you ain't seen them sin.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I don't care what you heard about. You ain't darn seen them sin. And the man is hungry and you didn't give it to him. No, that's Yahweh Shua, brother. Right? And if that man happens to be on the streets and poor and don't have nothing, then yes, that's Yahweh Shua. Right? Keep going, watch this.
And then shall he say unto them on the left hand, Depart from me, you cursed, into everlasting fire, prepared for the devil and his angels.
Right? He said the other ones, y'all get y'all butt in the fire. So that's the separation of who's bonded to Jacob versus who goes with Laban. Those that go with Laban end up going into the fire. Those are the ones that was feeble. Anyway, the strong though, the strong is the ones that take care of their brothers. Right? That obey the will of the Father. Those get bonded to Jacob. I mean, Yahweh Shua. Whole book talking about the same person. Right? Now let's go back to Ezekiel and let's see what happened. Because Ezekiel told us that he's going to cause us to pass through the bond. So at this point, I mean, I guess we got to make the assumption that everyone that get pulled into the wilderness gets passed into the bond. I mean, what other assumption could we make?
There's Ezekiel
20:37.
I don't know how I let Daniel talk to me starting off here. You know what I'm saying? We ain't gonna be able to do nothing else. You know what I'm talking about?
And I will cut well. It's good.
He always want to talk about eschatology.
Well, my man is doing his daily reading. It would be good to get all his backstory. And I will cause you to pass under the rod and bring you into the bond of the covenant, and I will purge out from among you.
Oh, whoa, hold on. He said he gonna do what?
Purge out.
So look, he started off saying, I'm gonna cause you to pass under the bond. We might have the impression that everybody in the wilderness get to pass under the bond and be bonded to the Most High God, just like the ring, straight, and speckle that got bonded on to Jacob. But remember, it was a whole other side of the ones that went with Laban. Tell us about those, God.
And I will purge out from among you the rebels, and them that transgress against me, and I will bring them forth out of the country where they sojourn, that they shall not enter into the land of Israel, and you shall know that I am the Lord.
Right? So before we get into the land, he said, I'm going to cause those that do right to pass through the bond. And all the others, I'm going to purge them out. What else he said? Watch this.
As for you, O house of Israel, thus says the Lord God, go serve you everyone his idols hereafter also. If you
Oh, no,
will not
go
listen
back. I missed something.
I will bring them forth out of the country where they sojourn, and they shall not enter into the land of Israel.
I'm going to take them all the way out of, listen, you got to understand, the Most High God is that's a bad man. You know what I'm talking about? This is what he going to do. We all in America, you know, that's just assuming, just kind of putting together a little scenario that we can envision. We all in America, right? And we like, okay, this, that, and other, give us our reparations, all this stuff, right? So let's just say that happened. I mean, I don't know if this is how it's going to happen or not. I'm not trying to prophesy now. I'm just saying this is like, you know, one way I can envision it, right? Let's just say the reparations are like denied, right? We get all the way up to the process, and then let's just say it's just denied, right? It's just like flat no. We get close though, like we get real close. Like we are like everybody discussing it. They in the room, a law about to get signed for reparations. Then the president veto it. You know what I'm saying? Get to that point, the president like, that's ridiculous. It's too much money. I'm not gonna do it, and he vetoed it. But we thought he was gonna do it before, right? So let's say that happened. So then you got like a man of God that come out, right? Prophet, maybe two of them, right? They come out and they start talking to the whole world. They're like, all right, so listen, you gotta let the people go. You gotta let the people go. Who gonna help facilitate these people getting go, right? Then like I don't know, maybe like some plagues and stuff start hitting, because you know God said He gonna bring us out of the country with what?
Stretched out arm.
And what else?
And fury poured out.
Right? So like maybe like I don't know, the plagues that you see in Revelations. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe those start hitting like not just America, but like all over the world, right? So okay, the plagues start hitting all over the world. All this stuff start happening. At the same time, you got the prophets telling them, okay, who gonna help let these people get out of here? Right? And they talk to the whole world, not just America, all over the world, right? But America, the ones that almost had this like this reparation thing going. Right? So then people in America that's upset, right? Gentiles in America that's upset about this whole ordeal, you know what they say? You know, because you know, in Isaiah tell us that we're gonna be coming over there on swift what? Swift beat. And he said, who gonna carry us over there? As like an offering.
Gentile.
And then the Gentile gonna carry it like an offering. So let's just say, I mean who knows, but let's just say like there's a lot of people in America who got money and they looking like this. This is ridiculous. We were for the reparations bill. We can't believe that the president didn't sign it. You know what? We'll pay for it. So they say, you know, we gonna start doing it. And this sparks like a whole thing throughout the world. Where people are like, man, these the people of God. We done figured this out by now. What y'all doing? The prophet is out here. There's plagues hitting. Somebody just needs to do something about this. We're sick of it. Let's just get them out of here. Matter of fact, we leaving too. Because this is craziness and this plague is hitting hard. They get us. They take us over in the swift beat. I like to think of a swift beat like, you know what I'm saying? Like a private jet, you know what I'm saying? Like thing, you know what I'm saying? One to one, like I don't want to get on a, you know, you walk up to the terminal on the airplane and they got that thing that you walk through, that little tunnel thing that you walk through and it connect to the plane. I don't want to get on that. Now I want the stairs to come down. You know what I'm talking about? I want them stairs to come down, walk over my suitcase just like that. I don't even want to carry my own suitcase. They're like, nah, you take care of that. I want to walk up there just like this. You know what I'm saying? We're like, when you coming? You know, why you taking so long, Gentile? Let's go. You know what I'm saying? I want to talk to the Gentile. Got to serve us. I mean, that's just how I want to look at it. You know, I want to, come on, man. Come on, what you gonna do? They footing the whole bill. I'm just talking to them like they lost their darn mind.
That's imagination.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, I just like, that's how I like, this is how I go to sleep. You know what I'm saying? I just like to think through. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, okay, I get on there. That's what I like to see as a swift beast. You know what I'm saying? That thing, whew. Then we go over there, right? Then we land in some wilderness. I'm not going to say Africa. Maybe it's Africa. Who knows? In some wilderness, right? We land in this wilderness. And then the prophets bring us all together. It's probably going to be 2 prophets, right? They're going to bring us all together, right? This is my imagination, right? They're going to bring us all together. And then once we get all together, we're going to have Gentiles there. We're going to have Hebrew Israelites who was like, man, I've been trying to tell y'all this stuff will go up, and we've been telling y'all this for years, right? And then we're going to have regular black people, right, that didn't know they was real Hebrews, but now they all for it because it's advantageous to be. Same way that they be like, you know what I'm saying, like it's black power, and it's like a lot of people that was saying black power wasn't saying black power last year, but now that it's like on TV and Amazon is saying it, it's like now it's all black power and everybody conscious now. Like, so it'll be the same thing, like when it's like, oh, we Hebrew? Or white people saying we Hebrew too? Oh wait, hold on, we about to get carried out of here by being Hebrew? Hebrew, what you mean? Where my fringes at? You know what I'm saying? So there's gonna be a whole lot of that too, right? Then we gonna go over there and we all gonna be there together. Gentiles, Hebrews, people that didn't know they was Hebrew, people that did know they was Hebrew, everybody just gonna be in there together. And the Most High God is gonna look at all those people, because all nations gonna be before him, right? He gonna look at all those people, and guess what he gonna say? You good. You good. In the wilderness, he brought these people all the way from their homeland, right? Put them right smack dab in the darn wilderness, and then start choosing. He didn't choose like, no, I'm not gonna bring you out of your land. You stay there where you at your home. Now you out in the wilderness. You ain't even got no darn house out here. You don't know what's going on. Your butt happy because you understand these people, the majority of these people, even the ones that get chosen, ain't read this book, and they probably ain't gonna be able to read this book at this time. So they ain't gonna know what's about to happen. It's a mass majority of us ain't gonna know what's about to happen. We gonna get out there thinking like, oh, we saved, Gentiles and brought us over there. Woo! Finally out of our captivity. We about to have our own land. I can't wait, because that was the prophet telling us. Right? Prophet's like, hey, get in line, you know what I'm saying? We going home, let us go, this, that, and other. But it's gonna be just like Egypt. We gonna get out there, and the Most High God gonna purge the ones who are disobedient and rebellious towards him. And they but gonna get stuck there. Read that one more time. I love this.
And I will cause you to pass under the rod. And
Uh-huh.
I will bring you into the bond of the covenant.
Mhm.
And I will purge out from among you the rebels and them that transgress against me.
Uh-huh.
And I will bring them forth out of the country where they sojourn, and they shall not enter the land of
I'm
Israel.
bringing them all the way of their place where they live, and they still not gonna get into the land. They but gonna be stuck in the wilderness, dead. Keep going, watch this.
And you shall know that I am the Lord.
Uh-huh.
As for you, O house of Israel, thus says the Lord God. Go serve everyone his idols, and hereafter also, if you will not listen unto me.
Uh-huh.
But pollute my holy name no more with your gifts and with your idols.
He said, don't do both. You go serve the other guys if you want to serve them. Go do whatever you want to do. But don't bring that mess to my holy temple. Watch it, keep going.
For in my holy mountain, in the mountain of the highest of Israel, says the Lord God, there shall be all the house of Israel, and all of them in the land serve me.
All the house of Israel is going to serve him, he said. Shall be. Watch, keep going.
There will I accept them, and there will I require your offerings and your first fruits of your oblations with all your holy things.
So when people say the sacrifices are done away with,
Coming back.
this is future tense he's talking about. And unless somebody can show me where this already happened, where he already brought the people from all the different lands, he already purged them in the wilderness. Right? Then that means it's still got to happen. And he said, that's where I'm going to accept your oblations and your offerings. What else we got?
I will accept you with your sweet savor when I bring you out from the people and gather you out of the countries where you have been scattered. And I will be sanctified in you before the heathen. You shall know that I am the Lord when I shall bring you into the land of Israel, into the country from which I lifted up my head to give it to your fathers.
See, now what people don't understand is after that ordeal, however it happens, I'm likely it won't happen any way that I just described it, right? But however it happens, we will end up getting to the wilderness. And then from the wilderness, we will get purged, and you will have a subset of us that goes to Israel. When that happens, however we get out of these countries, that is going to upset a lot of countries. You remember when we left Egypt, what happened?
The Canaanites was like, what y'all doing over here?
Well, not just the Canaanites, though. How did Egypt feel about it? They chased us, didn't they? Right? They came right after us. Who said we could go?
The Pharaoh.
Egyptians. Egyptians said, remember that the normal Egyptian was like, get out of here. Just take everything. Go. Just please go. Because their firstborn children died. The plagues hit, they were tired of it. Pharaoh said, go. His child died too. Go. Right? They let us go. They said, do whatever you want. Just get out of here. And then after that, they're like, wait a minute. Let's go get their bus. And they start chasing us. So don't think for a second that won't happen again. Y'all heard of the Battle of Armageddon? We ain't gonna get into it. We ain't gonna get all the way into it. But you heard the Battle of Armageddon, right? What this is all nations, right? We had Egypt to chase us this time because we came out of Egypt.
We got put out of all nations, so all nations gonna be coming.
We gonna get put out of all nations. So guess who's gonna chase us? All nations. And guess where we headed? Israel. So we're going to go to this wilderness. We're going to get purged. We're going to end up going to Israel. And all nations are going to chase us to Israel. And that's how you get the Battle of Armageddon. That's how you get all these different nations that come down. Huh?
It's going to be too much of a battle.
It's going to be a whole lot of slaughter, though. It's going to be a bad sight. Books say blood come up to, you know what I'm saying? Like, you riding on a horse, the blood will come up to the seat of the horse. You understand that?
It's going to take 6 months to bury him.
You understand that? Like, this is serious business that's going to happen. And Most High God said, y'all sure going to be walking through there? Oh, come on, I'm trying not to. You started this. You started this. This is Isaiah. Give me, what is it, 63 I want? Or 65? That's not 65, it's probably 63.
It's like the last chapter.
Or is it 50? No, it's not 53, because 53 is, give me 63. Maybe it's 60. Give me 63, let's see what that is, and then we'll figure it out. It's Isaiah chapter 63, give me verse 1. Because I didn't want y'all to see, you know what I'm saying, like what the book say about the matter. You know what I'm saying?
You get Ezekiel too.
Ezekiel what?
I'm getting some 40-something. Talking about how long it's going to take. He said they're going to seek out people for employment to build the body.
I remember where that was. I thought that was in Isaiah. It's Isaiah chapter 63. Give me verse 1.
Who is this that comes from Edom?
He said, who is this that comes from Edom? You know where Edom is? We got to get some map. You know where Edom is? So Edom is just south of Israel. Right? So as soon as like you go down, like Judah is pretty much the most south part of Israel. You go south of Judah, right below Judah, you got Edom. Right? So when we came, I'm going to try to draw, and you know I can't draw with the darn. Right? But this is like imagine Egypt being over here, and then we come, and then Edom is like right here, right? And then Judah or Israel, the beginning of Israel is like right, that's like the border. And then like this is Edom. And then Egypt is like technically all of this, right? So we came from here when we, you know what I'm saying, crossed the Red Sea, came all the way here, and then boom, we in Edom. And then we spent a lot of time in Edom before we actually went into Israel, because this is kind of like our holding spot, right? So who knows what wilderness we'll be in. However, if we are in a wilderness in Africa that caused us to pass through Egypt and had the same route, I mean, where might Yahushua come from? Look at this. Watch what it say.
Who is this that comes from Edom
Who in the world is coming from Edom? And what he look like?
with dyed garments from Basra?
And the man got dyed garments on. Basra is it's a city in Egypt. Edom, sorry.
This that is glorious in his apparel, traveling in the greatness of his strength.
Uh-huh.
I that speak in righteousness, mighty to save.
Uh-huh.
Why are you red in your apparel, and your garments like him that treads in the wine fat?
Why are your garments red? He's like, why are your garments looking like you somebody who take grapes, right? Big, you know the real, like you go to the store right now, you might find them purple grapes. Yeah, we ain't talking about those. We ain't talking about the green grapes. You know what I'm talking about? You ever seen like a real grape, like the legit like wine grape? You know what I'm saying? Like you bite into it and you get any of that on your clothes, like that stain never coming out. That thing be juicy too. You know what I'm saying? Like a real one, they got little seeds in them and all that. Like them, those are the real grapes. You can get them from Whole Foods. You go to Whole Foods, you get it. The taste is amazing. Great grapes, right? But those are the real grapes. This is what he's talking about. He said, so the wine presses, you would take those because we need to make wine. You got to press them. So you would take grapes like that, and there's still people that do this today. You know what I'm saying? They put on these like the wetsuit. You know what I'm saying? Like the bottom half is like, you know what I'm saying, like a wetsuit. And they get on, they just stomp on the grapes and squish them all down and press them because it's the more authentic way to make the wine or whatever. So like, he's saying that his garments is like somebody who just darn jumped inside of the wine press and just started stomping over them, splashing all that stuff all on top. So you got these red grape juice all over your. He like, why you got grape juice? I mean, I'm not talking about the purple grape juice. You know what I'm saying? Why you got grape juice, red grape juice all over your garments? Y'all sure looking at him like, oh, that's not a grape. That's not grapes at all. Let's hear about it. Let's see.
I have tried the wine press alone.
He said, I tried the wine press you talking about? Oh, I did that by myself. Oh yeah, I've been stomping around with some grapes already. And I've been doing it by myself. I've been trying down on it by myself. Right? Let's hear about it.
And of the people there was none with me, for I will tread them in my anger.
He said, all these Hebrews that I brought out of these other lands, I brought them all the way from all the other nations. They is in the wilderness. You know what they're saying? Oh, thank you, Lord. I'm ready to fight. The Gentiles is coming after, all the nations are coming after us right now. We're going to have to fight, God. We ready to fight. And you know what he said to him? I do this alone.
You get any of this on you, then I have to cast you out.
He said, all the people that were there didn't what?
All the people there was none with me. And of all the people there was none with me.
He said, all the people that I brought out of the land, wasn't none of them with me when I was trying down these grapes. Let's hear about it. Keep going.
For I will tread them in my anger and trample them in my fury. And their blood shall be sprinkled upon my garments, and I will stain all my raiment. For the day of vengeance is my heart, and the year of my redeemed is come. And I looked, and there was none to help, and I wounded.
He said, I looked, and there was none to help. All by his, you guys got to understand like what's happening. All nations, right?
You ever seen like a Jet Li movie? You know what I'm saying? They run through like
Mortal Kombat! You know what I'm saying? The people just getting chopped up, right? You gotta understand.
Like John
all
Wick.
nations, right? Everybody gonna send their soldiers, their representatives, whatever they gonna send it to Israel, right? The people gonna be there. We already gonna be in Israel. Most of our guys already gonna bring us in. The way I read it, Yahushua is not, like a lot of people had this thing that like Yahushua gonna return and then we go to Israel. The way I read it, that's not the case, right? The way I read it, what's gonna happen is the prophets are gonna take us into Israel. Remember, when we came out of Egypt, did Joshua bring us into Israel?
yeah.
But before that, how did we get there? How did we get to the edge?
Moses.
So that's how it's going to be. Right? You're going to have the prophets that bring us there. Right? And then you're going to have the deliverer that has all the wars. Prophets ain't going to do a whole bunch of warring. Right? But you're going to have the deliverer, which is going to be Yahushua. And we're going to be there, and he's going to come from Basra. We already going to be there because guess who all the nations is chasing them. He going to come from the back end of them, chopping folks up. Right? Grab Revelation. Let me see. It's Revelation. Gosh, I wasn't prepared for this. Revelation, what, 14? It's probably not 14, but let's see what 14 says. And then give me 19. It's Revelation chapter 14. Don't worry, when we get back around to Revelations, but you got to understand Revelation, it's a lot of groundwork you got to lay. You know what I'm saying? You'll never get it. You know, I don't get all of it. You know what I'm saying? I ain't about to sit here and practice like I got it all figured out. All this stuff is theory. I'm guessing. I'm looking at it. I'm just trying to, like, it helps. This is the only reason that it helps me to remember things when I can envision it. So you'll see, like, even when we talk about anything, we talk about Yahushua, you will see I'm trying to paint a picture because that's a picture I painted to help me envision what's happening. You know what I'm saying? So in the same way, when we talk about prophecy, these are just like, I'm just envisioning like how it could play out and all that. Who knows, right? The Most High God is real good for like making it play out in a way that none of us expected. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I don't dare assume that I expected, you know what I'm saying, what's actually gonna happen. But it's just a way to help me remember the actual scriptures, right? It's like, okay, I can see this happening this way or something like that. Let's see, it's Revelation chapter 14. Let me see what verse 1 says.
And I looked, and lo, a lamb stood on Mount Zion, and with him 144,000, having his father's name written on their foreheads. And I heard a voice from heaven as the voice of many waters, and the voice of great thunder. And I heard the voice of harpers harping with their harps. And they sung, as it were, a new song before the throne, and before the four beasts and the elders. And no man could learn that song but the 144,000 which were redeemed from the earth. These are they which were not defiled with women, for they are virgins.
What verse is that? 3, 4. Jump down to about verse 10.
The same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of God, which is poured out without mixture,
Look at that.
into the cup of his indignation, and he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels, and in the presence of the Lamb. And the smoke of their torment ascends up forever and ever. They have no rest day or night who worship the beast in his image, and whoever receives the mark of his name. Here's the patience of the saints, and here are they that keep the commandments of God in the face of Yahushua. And I heard a voice from heaven saying unto me,
Watch this.
Right, blessed are the dead which die in the Lord from henceforth, yea, says the Spirit, that they may rest from their labors, and their works do follow them. And I looked, and behold, a white cloud.
He said, it's a blessing to die in them days. You understand? It's dying the Lord, right? It's a blessing to die when you obeying the Most High God in them days.
And I looked,
Because he said it's about to be tough. All right, let's see. Keep
a
going.
white cloud. Upon the cloud one sat like unto the Son of Man, having on his head a golden crown in his hand, and his hand a sharp sickle.
So hold on. He had one sitting on the cloud, and in his hand, it was like what?
A sharp sickle.
So in his hand, it was something like a sharp sickle. And what else?
And another angel came out of the temple, crying with a loud voice to him that sat on the cloud, Thrust in your sickle and reap, for your time is come to reap.
So then the angel came and talked to this man sitting on the cloud, and he looked like a what?
White cloud and a cloud.
No, he looked like a what?
Son of man.
He looked like a son of man. What is a son of man? When you say son of man, what is that saying? Like what?
Like human
He looked like a human being. This don't look like no angel. This don't look like the Most High God. This looked like a human being sitting on top of a darn cloud. So hold on. What did Yahushua call himself throughout all of the gospel?
Son of man.
He trying to reinforce to you, I'm a human being. I'm a human being. I'm a human being. I'm a human being. Because he know one day I'm going to show up and I'm going to do some stuff that's not human. And I just want y'all to know I told y'all about it right here. This is Revelation 14. Where we at? About
Verse 14. 15.
About verse 15. Keep going. Watch this.
And another angel came out of the temple, crying with a loud voice unto him that sat on the cloud, Thrust in thy sickle and reap.
He said, thrust in thy sickle. Because remember, in the human being right hand, it's something that looked like, I don't know, it looked like kind of like a sickle. You know what I'm saying? Then the angel came out, angel a hater. He came out, go ahead and thrust it in, reap. Get them boys. Angel told him to get them. Watch what Yahushua said.
For the time is come for you to reap, for the harvest of the earth is ripe.
He said it's ready. Oh, y'all don't even understand how much stuff connects to this moment, right? So remember the parable that Yahweh ain't got to get it, but you remember the parable that Yahushua told us in the 13th chapter of Matthew. He told us that the wheat and the tare grow together, didn't he? And then it's like, do you want us to go and just pull up all of the tare so that they don't get mixed up with the wheat? And Yahushua told us in the parable, he is like, the master was like, no. Because if you pull up the tare too early, you might accidentally pull up wheat because they look the same. You know what I'm saying? Like wheat and tare, when they growing, looks the same. Once it's grown, you can clearly tell the difference. So he's like, let them all grow. And when the harvest is ready, then you can pull up the wheat. And then what you going to do with the tare?
Burn them up.
Throw them into the fire. Right? So now when you look at this, he said, I got my sickle. They said, look, it's ready. The harvest is ready for the world. That means everyone has grown to the point where you know exactly what we're dealing with. We ain't got to wait for nothing else to keep growing. Because that's what's happening right now. Most High God's like, all right, I got some people that I chose before the world even began. That they not done, they weak. They have not done growing yet. Like they ain't done, you know what I'm saying? Once they get finished growing, then it's like, okay, for sure. Once that last person is born, that's going to be a saint. And that person is fully grown. To the point that the Most High, and when I say fully grown, I don't mean 18 or whatever. To whatever point that the Most High God say, okay, they good, they done what they supposed to do. Once that last person happens, right? After that, it's on. You understand? Yahushua up there licking his chops. Let me at him. He's sitting there, he exposed with the cloud, on the cloud, sickle in his right hand. Right?
It's a lot different from that picture with the white dude, like, you know what I'm saying?
No. You saw this, you want to know the real picture that we gonna see? Why is your garment dyed? Why it look like you've been in the wine press? We about to see it. Watch this. He said, thrust!
And he that sat on the cloud thrust in his sickle on the earth, and the earth was reaped. And another angel came out of the temple which is in heaven, he also having a sharp sickle. And another angel came out from the altar which had power over fire, and cried with a loud cry to him that had the sharp sickle, saying, thrust in thy sharp sickle, and gather the clusters of the vine of the earth, for her grapes are fully ripe. And the angel thrust in his sickle into the earth, and gathered the vine of the earth, and cast it to the great winepress of the wrath of God.
That's the tare. Remember, the tare gets pulled up and get thrown where? The fire. All right, keep going.
And the winepress was trodden outside the city.
And the winepress was trodden outside the city. What city they talking about?
Jerusalem.
They talking about Yisrael, right? A city in Yisrael, Jerusalem. So all the nations come to Jerusalem. Yahushua, we just read in the 63rd chapter of Isaiah, gonna come from Edom, which is south of Jerusalem, south of Judah, right? So he gonna be coming up the back. He gonna get all the nations, chop these boys up. Then he gonna come in. Watch this.
And the winepress was trodden outside the city, and blood came out of the winepress, even unto the horse bridles by the.
Even unto the horse bridle. You riding a horse, that thing up to here on you. Right? The horse bridle right here on the horse. That thing gonna be up to here on your thigh if you was riding a horse. The horse gotta go like this to try to get through it. You ever seen a horse walk through water? Like imagine that, a horse walking through all blood. Outside, it's not like there's gonna be a flood over the whole world. We talking about outside of Jerusalem, outside of Israel. When Yahushua come up the back end, all this gonna be covered with all types of nations surrounding Israel. Israel is a very little place. So you gonna have armies from a bunch of different nations coming here ready to fight, ready to conquer Israel, because they looking like the nerve of these black people. They think they can just leave. And they have all this voodoo come and all these plagues hit us, and they think we just supposed to back down. Sure, we said you can go, just like Egypt. Like we might think of it now and be like, that's unbelievable. Ain't nobody gonna do that. But understand, Egypt did the exact same thing. Right? So just like Egypt, this thing gonna play out. All these people gonna be out of their mind, and they gonna chase us down, and we gonna be in our land. We gonna be thinking we chilling. Who knows how much time it's gonna pass? We might be in our land for years. Because remember, there's a whole lot of prophecy in the book that we gotta like remember, like, okay, all of these things have to happen. One thing that has to happen is in Ezekiel, there's a temple that has to be built.
And they got wives and stuff.
There's wives, there's all types of stuff going on in there that we looking at based off of our reading of the book. That's not going to happen after Yahushua show up. Right? So it's like, okay, we know Yahushua come on the scene at this point. So before this point, a temple got to be built and all that. So it's very likely we get out of here, we go to the wilderness, we get purged, then there's a certain subset of people that the Most High God has chosen that obeys his word that goes into Israel. The prophet brings us there. The prophet helps us build this temple, right? This temple gets built according to the designs that Ezekiel laid out for us, right? We put it all together. We got our temple and we chilling and we serving God and we giving them offerings. We have a prince, a ruler that's over the people, and we have priests that the Most High God established and set up, right? So these people go ahead and fulfill that office and they do whatever they're supposed to do and everything goes well. Then after a while,
makes sense with the 144,000 good virgins because we in the land serving the Most High God.
We in the land, right? This is where the people get chosen, all these different things, right? So then after that, you might have all these nations, let's say 50 years go by, right? Or shorter, who knows? You might have these nations looking like, wait a minute, but wasn't we the like most cracking nation? Like we was America back then. And these people, and they the reason how he did it. President Trump did what now? He let them go?
Like the slaves did what?
You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, well, what type of resources they got over there? Oh, what, they own all that oil? Who made a deal with them? Okay, well, we can shut this down right now. Right? And they could go and get, or let's just say they still running the world. Let's say America's still going, because I mean, if you look at Revelations, it's saying that you still got these world systems that's in power. All right, so let's say they still running it. Let's say they still oppressing us. We just in our land still. Right? Who knows? I don't know how this thing gonna play out. Right? But however it's gonna play out, they gonna be mad enough to go over there and try to start a war, and they gonna fight with God. They probably not gonna realize they fighting with God, but they gonna be fighting with God. Y'all sure gonna come up the back end. He gonna light some butt up. It's gonna be blood all the way to the brim. Let's see. Anything else in that chapter?
And the blood came out of the winepress even unto the horse bridles by the space of 1,600 furlongs.
Right? So it's not the whole world. He's saying it's that way for the space of 100 what? For 1,000 and what?
1,600 furlongs.
Somebody look up what a furlong is. You can't really trust it because these people, you know what I'm saying, who knows, but let's just get an idea of what it might be. 1,600, you said?
Yeah.
1,000 says 1,600 furlongs. Just so you get an idea how much blood we talking about.
220 yards.
Is what?
220 yards of furlong.
It's like
220 yards.
2 1/4.
You got 1,600. 1,600. So do 1,600 times 200 what? 20?
For one furlong is 220 yards? Oh, so that's like...
Alright. Now, Des, if you don't mind,
that's
look
like
up for me
football field.
how many yards are in a mile.
Well, 5,280 divided by 3 would be, I don't know.
1760. 1,760 yards.
Okay. So 1,760. So 1,000. So you are multiplying what? 220, I think it was, times 1,600, because that gives us how many furlongs, right? Converted to yards.
Yeah.
Then we gonna divide whatever you just said, 352,000. So we're gonna divide 352,000 by 1,760.
You trying to convert that to miles? Gotta give us the miles.
That'll give us the miles. That's 200 miles. That's 200 miles. That's nuts. You gonna have 200 miles worth of blood that's coming up to the horse's back.
200 miles. What's that like from here to like Georgia or something like that?
Huh?
What's that, like 200 miles is like from here to Georgia or something like that?
No, heck no. 200 miles is like from here to Barstow.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So,
Yeah, like from here to Barstow, or here like from here to the state line or something like that. You know what I'm saying? But that, yeah, I mean, that's just like imagine that. That's nuts. That's like okay, just imagine a flood that came up to a horse's water. Like it rained and there was so much water that it flooded from here to Barstow. You know what I'm saying? The water was up to a horse's back, like it covered cars. That would be nuts. But then, okay, now blood. You know what I'm saying? But that's how many people gonna get dumped, and it's gonna make that type of a puddle.
So this always gonna make it wash and warm.
Keep going. Let's see what we got.
That was in the chapter.
That was in the chapter. All right. So yeah, I hope Daniel's happy now. I depressed everybody.
Absolutely. A lot of bad news.
But nah, man, for us, man, if we obey the Most High God's word, man, if we position ourselves right, man, this thing ain't bad news for us. It's good news. We ain't got to get it, but the angel came out. He started talking about preach the gospel. He told the angel to preach the gospel to the whole world. Right? Gospel mean what?
Good news.
That's good news for us. Right? It's just about making sure that we position correctly. Not gonna say things ain't gonna get challenging. Right? Because they will. But that's where the Most High God do his work at. Right? He challenges us to see who gonna, you know what I'm saying, who gonna buckle, who gonna do what he's supposed to do. It's all a test. All right? The whole thing is a setup. Just to see who gonna fall into the right places. We just gotta make sure that we got the information, the integrity, and the discipline to make the right decisions. Right? When it comes up, right? The book tells about a parable that a man that's faithful over a little. If we take these little, I promise you, the situation we dealing with is small. You know what I'm saying? We read Isaiah, right? I mean Jeremiah. And we read Jeremiah, and some of the stuff Jeremiah going through, that's tough, ain't it? Most High God, he complained to the Most High God about it. We just read it. He complained to the Most High God about it. You know what the Most High God said with him? He's in there, God, everywhere I turn, they trying to kill me and put me in prison, and these sinners, you ain't doing nothing about them, and this, that, and the other. Why, God? I'm paraphrasing, but it's something to that effect. Most High God responded to him and said, if you can't run with the footmen, how you gonna run with the horses? Like, you gotta understand the gravity of that statement. Like, I'm asking you, like, why you letting these bad people be bad? And I'm doing your work. I'm saying your word. I'm preaching your word. And you letting these people punish me and put me out like I'm doing something wrong. But you ain't getting my back on this, God. Like, what I'm trying to do what you told me to do, and they making it difficult for me, and you ain't, you know what I mean? Like, what's happening? And the Most High God's response to him wasn't, oh, don't worry, I'll help you, my bad, let me do this. His response said, oh, if you can't handle this, how you gonna handle what's happening next? That's the only, like, he don't console him. He don't be like, you can handle this, you got this, I chose you for a reason. Like, that's the guy that they tell us. They tell us about that guy. They be like, oh no, God, anything that you go through, he'll be with you, and this, that, and the other, da, da, da. They don't tell us about the God that when I'm like pouring my heart out because I'm stressed and I can't handle it, and I'm doing everything you told me to do, and the stuff you told me to do is getting me beat up out here. They don't tell us about the God when we come to him talking about that. The only thing he can say to us is, what you mean, you can't handle this? Cool. What's about to happen next? You really gonna have some problems. He looked at the man and told him, if you can't run with the footmen, in other words, if you can't run with humans, if you can't run with men on foot, how you gonna run with horses? The man said, I'm trying to get you ready to run with horses next. He don't console him. He don't tell him you can do this. He don't tell him none of that. He just told him, you gotta get ready for horses. And you complaining now.
Habakkuk had them same questions. He was just like, just held up by faith.
He talking about, boy.
He was just like,
You're not gonna read too many passages where the Most High God come and he like, listen, you can do this, that, and another. When he do it out the blue. He doing it just because he felt like saying it. It ain't because you're not gonna see too many people ask questions in a moment of weakness, and then the Most High God come to him and like baby him. His his approach is different. Like the God that we've been taught is way different than the real God. You remember Abimelech?
Yeah.
Abimelech was trying to get at Abraham's wife. He didn't know it was Abraham's wife. But he was trying to get it because they presented her to him as his sister. He was like, you know what I'm saying, what's going on, Ma? You know what I'm saying, what's good? He about to get down with it, and all of a sudden, Most High God pop up, you a dead man.
Ain't spoke to this guy.
Ain't spoke to him, I don't know nothing about you. Man just pop up, you're but a dead man. I'd like to kill your butt just now. He looking like, what in the world is this about? My young lady back here, I'm trying to, you know what I mean? Like, what's going on? And he tell him, listen, I didn't know this was the man's sister. Right. I mean, the man's wife. They told me it was his sister. Right? Most High God came back. You know what the Most High God came back and said? He lied, I know you didn't know. And I know you did it in the innocency of your heart. But I did it. In other words, what he tell him, I did it to save you. My approach was, I'll pop up to you and tell you right off, you but a dead. You this close from dying, boy. That's what he said, you but a dead man. In other words, you everything but dead. Everything happened. Every single thing has happened except you dying. That's the only thing left. Right? The man said the next step right now is your death. And then when the man came to him like, whoa, my bad, I didn't know. His word was, nah, man, I know you did it. I know you didn't know. That's why I did that. You know what I'm saying? Why I told you but a dead man and stop you. You might not listen. Like imagine if he would have been like, listen, the man hot, he bothered, he looking like, man, I ain't had nothing a little bit. I got me a new one. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to marry her. This, that, and the other. She with everybody down. He's setting up the ceremony. Like imagine you might be a little preoccupied. You might not want to hear what some God is saying that you don't worship. You might just be pretty focused on what you're trying to do. Like, nah, I'll deal with that later. Something come in your head, be like, you know what I'm saying? Well, no, maybe you shouldn't do that. Like, nonsense. You know, this is my wife. I'm about to marry her. Right? Man pop up and say, you are but a dead man. That might get your attention. You might go, oh, now. This Yahuwah? You don't want to heard about Yahuwah? I ain't got nothing to do with you. What you talking about? You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to, you know what I'm saying? They told me it was a sister.
You about to kill Balaam?
Balaam as well. Balaam ain't know what he was doing. Balaam just riding around this little darn donkey, minding the darn bit. He thought he was obeying God. They came to the man. They was like, listen, we just need you to curse the Israelites. Balaam looking like, nah, I can't do that. I can only say what the Most High God say. If he tell me to curse him, I can curse him. I can't say nothing past what the Most High God say. Then they was like, you know what? All right, look, just come with us and let's just see what happens. You know what I'm saying? Let's just see. Balaam's like, all right, for sure. Let's roll. Balaam ain't did nothing wrong at this point. He just riding along. All of a sudden, that donkey just starts slamming his leg into a wall. He's like, yeah, goodness gracious, God, he started beating the darn donkey. Because he hurt his leg. Imagine that you riding around, that donkey always do what you tell. Every time you turn the darn thing, the donkey turn when you tell it to go. Imagine that. All of a sudden, this one day, you going up against a wall. Like, oh, that's a nice wall. Look at that. Clow! You know what I'm saying? Your whole kneecap just into it. You look at it, you stupid Clark. I ain't never take you. Then it just continuously pressing your leg up against the kneecap. You looking like, why in the world this stupid darn bow, smacking in the face. You trying to get off of it, your kneecap still trapped against the wall. It's pressing. You know, donkey darn heavy. It's pressing its weight up against the knee. Then all of a sudden, Most High God pop up, and he said, oh, this donkey just, you realize this donkey just saw a darn, what do you see? It was an angel with a flaming sword, right? Or something like that.
Not a flaming sword, but a sword.
It was an angel with a sword. Flaming sword, Genesis.
Yeah, the sword is on the drum.
Right? So the donkey see this. Then the donkey spoke to it. Then the donkey speak to him and tell him. Right? So the donkey see this man about to chop his darn head off. So the donkey is pushing his leg against the wall because the donkey trying not to get killed. And it's trying to protect him. He's like, you don't even realize we about to die. He don't see the man, though. He don't see the angel. So he like, boom, you stupid donkey. The donkey like, man, look, I'm still your donkey. We about to die if I keep going, though. I know you trying to tell me keep going. I'm doing you a favor. So the donkey kind of speak to him and let him know what's going on. Then the Most High God let him know. He told him, he was like, you know what I'm saying? He said, what did he say? Your path.
Your way is perverse.
Yeah, your way is perverse before me. Right? And guess what Balaam said?
I'll turn around right now.
Balaam's like, oh look, I don't know what's going on. My kneecap hurt. I can go back home right now. What the Most High God say to him?
You go ahead and go. But only say what I tell you to say.
No, he's like, no, don't go back home. Go ahead and go. Just say what I told you to say. Right? These are the things that kind of happen. It's like, this is God's approach. God's approach, he didn't tell Balaam, look, you going to say what I told you to say, and then after that, they going to end up like trying to set you up, and you going to fall for it, and you going to give them some dirt on Israel, on how to get Israel, and that's what I'm going to get you for. He didn't give him the game. Most High God could have easily gave him the game. Like, this is exactly what's about to happen. Don't do this. Don't do this. He did it. Most High God just let him know something about to happen. He told him, your way is perverse before me. He was like, listen, I ain't got to go that way. I can go back. No. You go ahead and go. Just say exactly what I told you to say. And Balaam said exactly what he told him to say. Where Balaam slipped up is after that. After he got done talking what God told him to talk, he gave wicked counsel about Israel. Because these people were the whole thing was trying to get Israel cursed because they were scared of us. He gave wicked counsel. He was like, listen. I can't curse the Israelites. Because God ain't telling me to curse them. But maybe you got some nice women. Maybe you send them down to where the Israelites are. Have them bring a few idols. If they worship another God, God will curse them himself. And that's what he did. He sent the beautiful women down there from Moab. They got to dancing and moving and shaking with us. And all of a sudden, some of our men was like, hey, who you worship? Chemosh? Oh, Chemosh ain't bad. Let me bow down to him too. That's what it takes to get in there? All right. They got a little wrestling and all that stuff. Then all the wrath broke loose. To the point where, who was it? Phineas threw a javelin through him.
Oh, that's right.
Then he killed the last one.
Man, it was this dude like bragging like, you know, look at my woman, you know what I'm saying? I got her from Moab. Yeah.
Wow! Shot caught him right in the chest. Killed her too, right?
Yeah. The guy told us not to mess with the women.
You know where our weakness? Still the same weakness. Ain't nothing changed. Still the same weakness. Then women come through and be like, you know what I'm saying, making all type of compromising for these women. And you gotta say, oh, well, you know, ain't that big of a deal. Go ahead and wear your cross. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, you know what I'm saying, ain't that big of a deal. No, we Hebrew, but, you know, let's keep on celebrating Christmas. No, ain't that big of a deal. Because I'm telling you, women, bro, they are, all right, you know what I'm saying, me and Tasha, we gotta be on the same page. This thing ain't gonna work. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause I know you got my darn heart. You know what I'm saying? You can't set me up, please. You know what I'm saying? Because that's just how it works. Well, I gotta already know. That's why he told her, don't mess with these Gentiles. Not Gentiles in general, but talking about, at that time, the Canaanites.
Yeah, the Canaanites.
Right? He's saying, you know what I'm saying? Like, don't mess with the king. He's like, I've identified these people. These don't mess with. I already marked them for a curse. You mess with them, man. I'm trying to tell you. You just going to start worshiping their gods. Now I got to get you because I already marked them for a curse. And I marked them for a curse based off of what they do. You mess with them, they going to bring you into what they do. Now I got to get you. Like, that's the logic of it. Like, they already marked for the curse. As soon as you do what they do, now you're a part of them. It ain't like they that much different from any other Gentile. Just that God already marked them. Like, they done. You start doing what they do, that's it. Any questions? All right, well, let's pray out.